Rolling.
Rolling.
We're doing
Love
it.
that. We're
Cole,
back.
how's it going? Happy New Year.
Good. Happy New Year.
We made it.
2024 in the books.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We're back here above the noise. It is the beginning of January. Hope everyone had an incredible holiday season. Ours was filled with just a ton of good memories, a lot of good family time, great time to just shut it down as best we can as real estate brokers and just sort of realign and refocus as we head into the new year. So yeah, thanks for being with us.
So on that note, let's start off with a little year in review. 2024. I mean, if you had to describe it, sum it up in a word or a sentence.
Oh.
Put you on the spot. How would you do that?
Oh. Change. I mean, for us personally as a company.
Well, and an industry too.
Yeah, and as an industry across the board, yeah, between, the National Association of Realtors settlement, which, we've discussed a lot on this show. It's a show.
It's a show now.
It's a show. It's not a big deal. And from launching Varsity Real Estate to, a lot of transitions and shifts within the market, a lot of personal changes for everybody in our team. So, for me, change. What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't have an answer, but when you said change, it's like, yeah, that definitely resonates. A lot of change. Yeah, happy to be hopefully in a year of not so much change. We'll see.
Yeah. I like that.
What's your take on the googly eyes? Like it? Don't like it?
I mean, why not? I love it.
Apparently, it's really expensive to fix.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. I'm not a proponent of vandalism, but let's just assume that it's really cheap to fix.
It's amazing. Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, you're watching the Tonight Show or whatever, and Ben's on the map just for something goofy. It's lighthearted. Obviously, right now, everything's been so, politically charged and, all the things lately. This is the perfect thing to me that everyone can just laugh and enjoy. And
I literally laughed out loud the first time I saw it. I think it was at the Newport roundabout on 9th or 12th there, and I think it's deer or something. I can't remember, but literally, I was like, "That is hilarious."
Right?
It was great.
What about and this hasn't made news, I don't think, but there's the statue along Riverbend Park on Reed Market, and he's always dressed up as whatever the season is.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'd love to know who's doing that. Who takes the time out, to plan, to prep, or do they store it in their their Christmas bin and pull it out every year? Is this what they do? It's their tradition.
Yeah.
What time of night do they do that? I would just love to know.
We should do a documentary on that.
We should do a documentary. Yeah.
We're diving back into 2024 year in review,
Yep.
right? Looking
Yep.
back early last year, Q1 2024, anything that stood out to you professionally, personally?
It was a year personally for me that was it was all about doubling down on my disciplines and my goals, and kind of refocus. 2023 wasn't a good year for me personally, just a lot of struggles and doubts and insecurities that working through, and so I kind of got back to the playbook, so to speak, of what's made me healthy and successful over the years. And so yeah, that was I just doubled down, tripled down on those small little tweaks. If you've ever read Miracle Morning by, I can't remember his name, Hal something, but just great about getting back to the basics of quiet time, exercise, healthy, it's all the basics, healthy eating, drinking water, those types of things. What about you, Q1?
Yeah, Q1 was good. I mean, I think we kind of hit the ground running this year. And sometimes I think, kind of to your point, there's just such an ebb and a flow, not only in our business, but in our personal lives. And they're so interconnected, I think, regardless of the industry that you're in, whether it's real estate or not. You have to be able to pour a lot of energy into both of them. And they both, I think, have a lot of impact on one another, whether it's your personal life or your professional life. They're really intertwined, especially in our work. We kind of hit the ground running this year, not only from a sales standpoint and really continuing to focus on DeLand Billings Team Real Estate at the time, but gosh, early January or February last year, we were in San Diego at a real estate conference that really sort of kicked off this idea or sparked the deeper interest in us launching our own real estate brokerage.
Right. Yeah.
And
That was a big moment.
that was a big moment. That was a big moment for Sam and I. It was really good for us to just step out of the business, spend some time outside of Bend, outside of selling, even if it was just for 4 days. Get connected with a lot of people that we had no prior relationship with. But it's really refreshing it was really refreshing for us to just be immersed in another real estate culture that's not Central Oregon's real estate culture, and start rubbing elbows and, giving ideas back and forth, and just that power of connectivity, even if it's with people that you've just met, that actually really was really impactful in our decision to do this.
Yeah.
So, that was really, Q1 was really all about like exploring that idea further. Middle of the year was like, hunker down, let's sell.
Yeah.
We were super focused on that.
Yeah.
And, also a huge amount of energy went into just trying to learn how to navigate the National Association of Realtors
right.
lawsuit. A ton of news, a ton of information flowing to people, a lot of fear in the marketplace, and fielding so many questions, not only from the brokers on our team, but from our clients, from people that aren't our clients.
Yeah.
A lot of misinformation about what was happening.
Yeah.
And so there was a ton of energy in the middle of the year devoted towards trying to navigate that. And, personally, I think for us, we feel like in this business, the harder that it gets, the better we become, the more we thrive. And I think we really took that opportunity this year when there was a ton of fear out there. We obviously have fears. Sam just talked about some of his doubts that he'd experienced. We all experience those. But it's sort of, you got to put one foot in front of the other, take a positive mindset, and just know and have the trust and belief that we're going to figure it out. This is not going to bury us.
Not get lost in the negativity or the hype or the fear about it, which was what most people were doing. And it was really hard to not get brought into that, and just say, hey, there's been a lot of industry changes over the years, and not just in real estate, in every industry, and people figure it out. There's a path forward, and we always knew that, we still know that, like, we are a very valuable part of the ecosystem of any city and of home buying and selling. Like, that's just not going to go away overnight. And so we had faith and trust that was going to carry us through, especially us being among some of the top professionals in our industry. Like, that's going to carry us through. Like, no matter what's happening in the background with how we get paid, we're going to continue to be successful in what we're doing and helping people buy and sell homes.
Yeah. I mean, part of that, part of what I hear you saying, and, going back to some of the things that you shared previously, is so much of what we do, personally, which really bleeds into our professional life, is really just around mindset. Mm-hmm. It's the way that we perceive, the information that's flowing to us, the way that we're able to, digest that, and the mindset that we take associated with how we're going to move forward. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that I think, as leaders, we're pouring a ton of energy and time into. It helps us be, not only better business owners, but better real estate brokers, better dads, better friends, better husbands. It just permeates every aspect of our life. And I think that, for me, looking at, especially what maybe more Q4 was about for me, was kind of getting back, reshaping my mindset about what I think that this business can be, what I think that it means to be a real estate broker, what I think it means to be, an owner of a real estate company like this, and hopefully help bring along other people in this industry who are willing to, shift their mindset in the way that they approach what they do every day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. 100%.
Cool. Good talk.
Good talk. So did we just get through Q2, 3, and 4? Are we good? Are we covered it all?
I don't know.
Covered a lot.
We covered a lot.
Yeah.
Summer trip, best summer trip, 2024.
So Jen and I, my wife and I, we celebrated 15 years of marriage August 1st. And so we got to go to her family's cabin in Idaho, which we do every summer, basically in August. It's kind of a staple summer vacation for us, and it's up kind of near Coeur d'Alene, quiet lake. It's just great. You just check out. But anyways, this year we did a hybrid since we were celebrating a big milestone of marriage. We spent 3 days, I think, at the cabin, dropped the kids with Grandma and Grandpa. Thank you, Michael and Mary, and our dog at the time, and we took off. And we took off to Banff, and we did a road trip up there. Spent, I think, 3 nights, maybe 4, in Banff, and checked out some of the stuff that we've always wanted to see, and just had a great time. Did a bunch of hikes and ate good food, and you don't get those one-on-one times too often with kids at this stage. So it was a sweet time, good celebration. So that was definitely the highlight.
Solid.
Yeah, what was yours?
We went up to Victoria, British Columbia.
Yeah, it was around the same time.
Yeah, really good trip. Started up in Olympic National Park, Lake Cushman up there. Spent some time hiking there as a family. Then we powered up, hopped on a boat, went across the water. I don't know what that's called, but across the ocean.
Yeah.
The inlet, whatever. We made it to Canada.
Yeah.
Victoria's a rad city. Loved it. Great food, great art, really good architecture. And history, if you're into that. Really walkable city. Brought the kids scooters. They scootered everywhere through the city so that we could 6-year-old. Hard for them to walk 6 miles a day or whatever, but on a scooter they can do it. So that was really cool. Bouchard Gardens. And just, connected as a family, and we love adventure. We love new experiences, new cities. So that was just by far a great highlight for us. And I kind of keep bringing that one back into the memory tank, just as something that kind of fuels me for, whatever we might do this year.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Shout out Trevor Qualman. He's our marketing manager, director of marketing. We've got a good tagline for him. He's here in the background helping us film.
Making sure we don't look too stupid.
Exactly.
We don't screw up that bad.
Yeah. So he's
also,
been a hire
also
this
prompting
year.
us, which has been great.
Yeah. So you'll hear him firing off questions in the background. He's got a silky smooth voice. You'll like it.
I have my podcast voice. I want to know your guys' best new habit or routine that you developed or tried to implement and failed.
I've got one. We started actually budgeting this year in 2024 in January, and used a great app. I can't even blank on the name of it now, but it was really simple. Helped us kind of just know where the money's going, in our personal life, not in the business. And that was great, challenging. I did it every stinking day. I knew where every dollar went. And then I got to late September. I think it was right on the cusp of us launching Varsity. And it just dropped off a cliff. And now I'm afraid to open it back up and look. And so, maybe I need a day or two to sift through that and get back on track for 25. But it was really helpful. I've always got a general idea of where we're at and where things are going. But to actually look at every dollar and you're like, oh, wow, okay. We spend a lot of money on groceries or whatever it is,
Most eye-opening expense.
Poke row.
Yeah, probably. Eating out's probably one of them, because I'm the type in the morning, I'm just go, and then I leave the house. I'm like, oh man, I forgot a lunch, and so the amount of times I just say, oh, don't worry, I'll just grab something out, and it adds up fast. So you don't really think about it until you go back and look and be like, oh, that category's pretty high. So that's probably accurate. Yeah.
I don't know. This is more of a selfish routine for me, but I really need something that helps me check out quickly and feels restorative. And there's, the gym is one of those things for me. A walk with Amy is one of those things for me. Anything using my body is normally restorative for me, but something that really, my mind is not normally shut down in those scenarios, which is, trying to be present is such an important key to being available in the other aspects of our lives.
Yeah.
And so reading this year, and not just reading, any number of self-help books that everyone's heard of and that are all being passed around in our circles, but just focusing in on a novel.
Yeah.
And just getting lost in a novel. I wake up now, I try to read every day before I work out in the morning. I try to do it on the weekends as well. It's I mean, I'm learning so much more than I thought I would just through reading novels and fiction, and also it's just helping me really just reset my mind and get pulled out of that stuff where my mind just keeps sucking me back. So I don't know. It's really easy to just try to read another book about business and another book about a new routine that I need to do and all the things, and it's like, let's focus some of that energy on something that's not so serious and just get lost,
Yeah.
So.
What's the best novel then that you read?
Oh my gosh. I don't know that I have a favorite novel, but my favorite author of 2024 was William Kent Kruger. Got this just really cool, like great writing, really good storytelling. Everything that I read of it is sort of set in like the 30s or 40s, middle America, like just epic story, coming of age stories mixed with like just good drama and just killer writing, like really easy to immediately get transformed to to a riverbank in Mississippi and this kid and what they're doing. And so, yeah.
Best office moment at Varsity.
Yeah, best office.
Molly's speech at the Christmas party. That was pretty
Molly's
high up there.
Molly's speech at the Christmas party. You missed it, Trevor. Yeah, it was pretty epic fashion, as you would expect from Molly. I would say the best moment was when we moved into our new office space, and it was a Sunday evening, and not everybody was there, unfortunately. But it was just a cool, like, we did it. We're here. And now what? What comes next? And it all unfolded beautifully, but it was a big moment, and it was like, sweet, this is it. It was fun.
Yeah, showing up that following morning.
Yeah.
And it be launch day.
Yeah.
Was really fun.
Yeah,
it was such a surreal day. A lot of phone calls, a lot of conversations, some hard conversations, a lot of great conversations, tons of good feedback. That day was really, really exciting and invigorating for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
I kind of want to know the best song of 2024 that you heard or that you couldn't get out of your head.
So I did that little app. Well, are you Spotify or Apple iTunes?
Spotify.
Well, they did that thing. Like you look at your year or whatever. So I did that for iTunes. I was not surprised. Number one artist for us was Forrest Frank, he's previously part of Surfaces, which has like a couple of popular songs, and then he started his own like independent projects, and our kids just like fell in love with him. We fell in love with him. Now he's like he's kind of blown up this year. So anyways, he was number one on our list. So I could probably name 3 or 4 songs that were just like on repeat in our house all the time. And in fact, we should have mentioned this too earlier. We went to New York for a few days in August, and that had to been the most all-time epic trip I think we've done as a family. It was so fun. And the reason we went to New York is because he's my daughter's favorite artist, and he was performing in New York City on her birthday.
Let's go.
So we went more as a family trip. We've always wanted to visit a big city, but we're like, all right, we're going to slide this in there. And it kind of felt like it was our birthday trip. And so we went and got to hear, some great music. And then we were just like cruising the city after. It's like 10 o'clock, we felt fresh because we're all invigorated and from the concert. Plus it's like East Coast time. So we were just like all kinds of energy, walked around, grabbed some food, Times Square. And we're like, man, wouldn't that just be so cool if we saw Forrest Frank down here? And next thing you know, it was literally like the seas parted, and there's Forrest Frank and his little entourage are riding these little electric scooters, and our kids they're not perceiving what's happening like Jen and I are, because I think we're just a little bit more aware, and we're eye level with everybody. And anyways, the kids are all wearing his swag from his merch from the concert, and it said, literally her shirt says, "I was at Forrest Frank's first tour or concert," or something like that. And as the seas part and Forrest sees the kids first and his eyes light up like, oh, it was almost like it was a cool moment for him too. He was like, oh, these kids are wearing my merch in the middle of Times Square in New York City. Anyways, so we got to chat with him for a little bit. The kids couldn't believe it. They're all starstruck. He's probably the most famous person they've ever seen, and got a picture with them. And just, yeah, it was a cool moment. You know, we told him, hey, we came all the way from Oregon to see you. And yeah, he's coming to Portland actually in April. We're gonna go see him again.
There you go.
Anyways, that was a really long-winded answer to one of Forrest Frank's songs, probably Never Get Used to This. It's gonna be a good day. I think those are, yeah.
The one that's freshest right now comes from my daughter's mouth. She just performed it last night at her school, which is the 50 Nifty United States of America.
Can you recite it for us?
No, all I know is the beginning. It's like it's all 50 states alphabetically, and it's got a tune. It's like Alabama,
Arkansas. Yeah.
My Amy still remembers it from
Yeah.
childhood.
Same with Jen. Yeah. Not me. I was homeschooled.
Yeah, we didn't learn much at school. No. Well, kind of going along with greatest hits of 2024 as far as memories, but also music. I took my two oldest to the Olivia Rodrigo concert in Portland. If you checked our Spotify, that would probably be at the top of the list because the kids have just been playing her on repeat. But really fun experience. Just rad. Everyone dressing up in all purple and the whole get up. And just a ton of fun. Just singing at the top of our lungs, making a good memory. And that was cool. So,
Do you remember your first concert? Was that your kid's first concert? I'm sure you've maybe been to more.
they have been to Surfaces in Bend,
No way.
2023.
Oh, I didn't know they came here. Nice.
Yeah. That was their first stadium concert.
Yeah.
For sure. No doubt. And, you know, of course, tickets are super expensive. We end up third deck, 3 seats from the from the back of the building.
Yeah.
And I'm like vertigo. I'm like, whoa, because it's so steep there at the Moda Center. I leveled out after that, but we were good.
Yeah. What was the first concert you ever went to? Remember? This is getting a lot off topic, but curious.
Like a stadium concert like that. I didn't really go to anything like that. Probably like Monster Jam, which is not a concert.
Yeah.
Or like WWE.
Oh, serious?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Arco Arena, Sacramento.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know that I went to any big concerts, music concerts, really.
Mine was Carmen, which if anybody grew up
Carmen.
in the Christian world, Carmen was a big deal. He's like a storyteller. The guy was really talented, or is really talented. I think he maybe still performs, but like would just have the most obscure songs like that were like stories, and he would talk in a lot of them and then sing and very dramatic. But yeah, my parents took us to that, and it was I think it was at the Rose Garden at the time. Is it still called the Rose Garden? I think it's called Moda Center.
Yeah, Moda Center.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Carmen.
Where
Look 'em up.
in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Close, but different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
New Year's resolutions. You got something?
I don't normally do New Year's resolutions.
I'm not a resolution guy either. I'm more of a goal guy, which I think they're similar. Same thing. I could, this sounds kind of lame, but I could basically print my goals from 2024 and
Keep doing them.
I mean, not that I perfected it, you know, and that those are like, that's the all-time achievement, but it's like I try to just stick to the basics, and I know a lot of the other stuff is going to work itself out. So I have on my desk at home 3 double-sided printed papers, and it just goes over each of I call them accounts in my life. You know, it's like, okay, where do I want my faith to be? Where do I want my family to be? Finances, business, friendships, and set a vision for it. Like, what do I want this to look like this year? What's like that? What's the vision? And then try to contrast that to like, what's my today's reality, which is typically not at the vision. So I've got work to do, ways I can improve. And then determine action plans that are going to bridge that gap or shorten the gap, you know? So those are my goals every year. And some of them are really, really tangible. Like, you know, I want to make X amount of money, or I want to work out X amount of times per week, or I want to go skiing X amount of days. And some of them are just like, more just mindsets. Like, can't measure if I'm being a better dad, right?
Yeah.
Can't measure if I'm being more patient necessarily, right? Like you
Right.
can other things. So that's just like a good reminder to be like, hey, this is who you want to be, and let's continue working towards that and be reminded of it. So those are my resolutions.
So something we're doing this year that we've done in the past, but I think we're going to get a little bit more granular about is, as a family, Amy and I having a really clear idea of our goals as a family for 2024. It's so easy to just live your life. You've got 3 kids. You're just like taking things as they come. You're trying to fit in a vacation here or there. You're, trying to do something financially. But if you don't set out with an intention in a way that you're going to go do that, it's really easy, especially with the hectic lives that we live, to like really quickly get off course. And then you start making decisions that are not bad decisions, but they're just not really in line with what you felt like you really set out to do in the beginning. So in January, we're going to get away for a couple nights, spend, half a day just really focusing in on like, okay, like every year, one of our goals is we're going to go somewhere new, somewhere either in the United States or not that we've never been. Okay, what do we want that to look like? Like, what's an investment that we want to make this year? All the things, but it's like, I think we're just going to pour more into that up front and try to make it fun and, make it restorative and getting away, and then just, use that as a North Star, so to speak, to just keep checking back in on, which, like I said before, really easy to not have that North Star and just think in your heads that you're both aligned. You just might not be making decisions that are really going where you think you're going.
Yeah, right.
So collectively, we're going to do that. And then I think as a business, I think our goals this year might look a lot different than they have in the past.
Yeah,
which
sure.
is exciting.
Yeah, as it should. It's a kind of a different ballgame.
Yeah,
in some
absolutely.
regards. Yeah.
So I think just, continuing to find ways to refine the way that we set goals and refine the way that we measure where we're going.
Yeah.
That gets me super excited because it's not something that we've done it in the past, but it's been a lot more, focused on, maybe specific production goals and some other goals, which are important goals to have that we'll still have. But I'm excited to like come alongside some of our, classic goals that we've set as a business and start like layering in new components to that, and the building out of that's really fun.
Yeah. All right, we're going to switch gears here for a little bit. Trevor, behind the camera here, is going to ask us some kind of one-off questions about real estate. So let's jump in.
All right, what's the number one thing sellers should do before listing their home?
It's easy. They should just call us. That's the number one thing they should do.
They definitely need to call a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is the number one thing. Call a real estate agent and find one, interview 1 or 2, 3. Find one that you trust. I would say that's the main thing. Like, you can legitimately trust this person to help you go through one of the hardest transactions and processes that you're going to do in life. And just make sure they're legit. Make sure they know their stuff. Make sure they're experienced. Make sure they care. That's step one. Finding that right person.
To add to that, be prepared to put in the hard work to make your house the very best version that it's ever been of itself.
Yeah.
I don't care what market you're in. I don't care if it's the middle of COVID and you throw a for sale sign in the ground and you got 4 offers the next day. The right way to do it is to prepare the house to be the very best version of itself that it can be.
Yeah.
Whether that means staging, whether that means decluttering, whether that means small improvements that have a high impact that we can help guide you on. You have to know going into it that if you haven't already, you're going to need to invest some money up front, or not necessarily money, but energy into making your house shine.
Yeah, for sure.
You cannot overlook it.
Yeah.
All right, it's now a good time to buy, sell.
Depends on how you look at it. I think it's a good time to buy because there's a lot of inventory out there. There's options if you're a buyer, options like you've never had. There's sellers with days on market that are racking up. We're in the middle of winter here in Central Oregon. there's all these reasons why there could be perceived deals out there, and everybody defines a deal differently. But historically speaking, right now there's deals out there to be had.
December, January.
Yeah, for sure. The flip side to that is why you can kind of look at this on two different sides of the coin is, okay, interest rates are still at an elevated level, right? And so a lot of people aren't liking what those monthly payments look like, if you're at a 6.5% or 7% interest rate. So that's the flip side. So if you can stomach that payment, and or if you can see yourself refining out of that payment, in the future, 1, 2, 3 years down the road, and so you can handle that payment for a short period of time, then right now is absolutely a good time to buy.
Yeah. To be really laser focused on the buyer pool, if you can afford to continue to pay whatever your monthly payment's going to be at the current interest rate right now for the long term, now is a great time to buy.
Yeah.
There's a ton of inventory. Sellers are super motivated. Dead of winter. Way more options than you've had in years past. And when rates do come down, there will be a lot more competition. If you cannot afford and you're stretching and you're counting on interest rates coming down, I would be more cautious.
Sure.
Tell me about a deal that you negotiated like a pro, one of your favorite deals that you negotiated.
I think Cole should answer this one.
Dude,
Not that I don't have any. Got many.
you got plenty.
Yes, but there's several instances where you tell a story of negotiating deals. I can't remember the deal, but it was recently. It was 4 offers. You were representing the buyers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it came down to something about, I want to say commission or compensation, and you somehow figured it all out. Remember what I'm talking about?
I don't know the specific transaction. There was a month earlier there was a month in the third quarter that I was in 3 multiple offer scenarios. And I think that month I ended up winning all 3 of those.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't remember the specifics of each deal, obviously. But, for me and for my buyer, was really having a super clear understanding of, my client's goals, having a really fine-tuned understanding of their financials, where they could go within the negotiation if we got to a certain point where they needed to stretch or where we needed to pull back, their level of motivation, having really clear communication style with the other agent, building a lot of rapport, asking really poignant questions. You just don't get what you don't ask for. So, my approach in multiple offer scenarios is I ask for every single detail that I can from the listing agent. And, one of my superpowers is they normally give me what I want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And normally that ends up helping my clients.
Yeah.
And so, one thing I will say that I've been, I've read a lot of, there's a ton of inspirational videos and stuff going on at the end of the year. It's like goal setting 2025, and everyone's throwing out their greatest hits of what inspires them and all the things. And we obviously love sports, varsity real estate, and I've seen a ton of content recently that's been focused on how to motivate players and how to be the greatest version of yourself as an athlete or whatever the thing is. And people have asked us, especially this year, how did our team have such a successful year in a year of so few transactions in the Central Oregon real estate landscape and in a year where things were really flat? And there's a lot of things I think we do really well. One of the things that we simply did is we outworked our competition. Mm-hmm. We showed up more prepared at every listing appointment. We showed up more prepared in understanding, the market conditions. We just poured more into it than the next guy or gal, and that's how we got the job done. Mm-hmm. And it seems like a really basic tenet of any business that you're in, but we're in the business of out-hustling our competition.
Yeah.
And that's how I won those multiple offer situations.
It worked. And your clients won because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Sam, what is the most overlooked cost in buying a house?
I think it has to do around your closing costs, specifically lender closing costs. Okay, so assuming you're getting a loan, right? You have all these fees as a buyer. You're looking at your inspections, You're looking at your earnest money, which is a deposit, right? It can be refundable. You're looking at your title and escrow costs. People they don't even think about that stuff generally, right? Or what the lender is going to charge to get you the money, to get you the loan, right? They've got to also make money on that side too. And there's all these fees. And you ever look at one of those closing disclosures, right? It's like reading a different language. Like they've got a lot of different material in there and fees that they've got to charge. So that's what's most overlooked, I would say. I think people generally know what a real estate agent's going to cost them. I don't think that's really overlooked because it is a big cost to people. And so I don't think I think they're keenly aware of that. But I think those closing costs, and it can be, sometimes 1-2% if you're getting a loan, kind of depending on the structure of the loan and everything like that. So people just need to watch out for that and ask up front. Like a lender should be able to tell you, like, here's what you can expect if you're going to get a loan size of $400,000, let's say, like, here's approximately what you're going to pay. And then on top of that, this is probably even a layer deeper, is your prepaids. A lot of times you kind of hear the term closing costs and prepaids together. Prepaids is like, okay, I've got a year's worth of insurance that I have to pay up front. And so if it's a $4,000 bill, you're adding that to your closing costs. It has to be paid at closing, right?
Because the lender's collecting that money to be paid out later.
Correct. And you oftentimes don't think about, oh, wait, I'm going to pay a full year in advance. And then they start collecting it every month, in a 12th increment, right? So that they have it to pay in full the next year. Same goes for your insurance, right? You've got that insurance bill. Depending on the size of the property, it's probably $1,000 to $4,000 or even higher, depending on the value of your home. And that's something that you're paying out of pocket up front for.
What is the best way for a buyer to have a clear understanding of their cash to close, is what we call it, how much money they're going to have to bring to the closing table out of pocket to buy a house?
Yeah, they've got to talk to a lender. The lender's kind of like, they're the numbers person, right? Like we know, we have a general idea of what it's going to cost, but the lender's going to give them like a very pinpointed answer of this many dollars, right? And it should be very close initially up front with that estimate. And then as you go through the process and more stuff gets figured out in the loan, within a week of closing on the loan and closing on the transaction, you're going to know down to basically the dollar what you're going to owe. But a lender should be, if they're good, they're going to give you that insight right up front so that you can say, oh, I'm in a good position to do this or not. And then that helps us know how to negotiate for the client, right? Either in purchase price negotiation and or closing cost credit. You can get a credit towards your closing costs. So let's say you had an additional $20,000 in addition to your down payment to close the loan in terms of fees that we just went over. Okay, you can get some of that help from the seller to cover those closing costs, therefore leaving that cash in your pocket or helping if you don't have the cash to get the deal done.
Absolutely. And since we're talking about, many times between $8,000 and $20,000 in closing costs, it's a lot of money. Are those fees that a buyer can get an understanding of before they actually even write an offer on a property?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's, again, goes back to the lender. Also talking to an insurance agent up front and just saying, hey, what can I expect? I'm going to buy an $800,000 house. Roughly what is that going to cost me in terms of coverage?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think if you're hiring anybody as a real estate broker, they should be able to help you walk through this process, whether you're using a lender that we've helped you select based on our experience. We've given you maybe 3 options and let you go out and decide who you want to work with. But in conjunction between the real estate broker and your mortgage broker, you should be able to help get a pretty fine-tuned number for a buyer before they even go write an offer on a house.
Yes.
If you know that you're looking in your price points between $750,000 and $800,000, and we can help you estimate a ton of those costs, and you just have to be proactive. And I think the key to any success in real estate is you have to put in the hard work before you get to the point to where you're ready to buy or sell.
Yeah.
I want to know what you guys can teach me when it comes to a really cool real estate equity hack.
Equity hack. So depends on your skill set, I would say, and just stage of life and what your risk, tolerance for uncomfortability, those types of things is where I would direct people. But easy hack is leveraging extra units or space in your house to I shouldn't say easy, but it's an obvious one maybe. Leverage that for some cash flow, in your property. So let's just say you've got, mother-in-law suite or an ADU on your property. Okay, clearly that could make a great rental, right? And supplement your mortgage considerably. Let's say you've got 3 extra bedrooms and you don't mind having roommates. That's an easy way, is you rent out every bedroom for, whatever the going rate here is in Bend. I know it's not cheap, but that's a great way to supplement your income. So I say that's one. The other is starting somewhere, getting into the market, and using that equity building over the years to continue to pave a path towards financial freedom and just wealth. There was a stat, just saw it yesterday actually at a class, that said the median net worth of a renter in the United States is $10,000. Switch that to a homeowner, it's $411,000, right? So clearly, it's not only because of real estate, right? I mean, there's probably other factors that make a homeowner successful in building wealth, but it is clearly one of the best ways to build wealth and a great way to invest. So just getting on that path, whatever it looks like for you and your stage of life, getting on as soon as possible and letting time in the market do its thing, right? You're never going to time the market perfectly, so just get into the market and let time do its thing. It will go up over the years, which is proven. Look back at any graph. So that's probably the best hack I could offer.
I think both Sam and I take a pretty low and slow approach to real estate investing in general. I think that we believe in the power of real estate as an investment for long term. And when we're, depending on the type of real estate market that we're in, we're always really pretty bullish about ensuring that our clients know that, if you pour money into your property after you close on the house and you call me in 18 months and decide that you need to move, well, is this a type of market that might support that type of investment into the house? Or do you need to be thinking about this house as more of a long-term investment? I think regardless of the market, if you're thinking long-term and you can get your foot into the market, you should be in a good place. But if you have more of a short-term approach and you're looking at more modifications to a property to build equity, then you need to make sure that you're in a market and that you have the time frame to be able to execute on that and have it be profitable down the road.
Yeah. Very few markets offer you the get rich overnight thing, right? And those markets are usually not a great market, really. They're unstable. So in our society today, people want to get rich quick. That's a very common way of thinking, and that's not necessarily the approach you should be taking to real estate. There are quicker ways than not, obviously, but again, it's get in the market, spend time in the market. That's where you need to be.
Absolutely. What are some spaces within people's house that historically are safe bets to pour money into that will gain value over time?
Oddly enough, the front door. I'm serious. Invest in a good front door, curb appeal, right? Anything to do with curb appeal. And then kitchen and bathrooms, I would say. The primary bedroom, bathroom being the first and foremost. But yeah, those few things. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think they're great.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm a renter who makes $60K a year. What would you say is one tip, or maybe multiple, to become a homebuyer?
No, I don't think necessarily. I mean, obviously the numbers have to work, right? The income's got to be there to support the payment every month. Or you got to win the lottery, basically. So it's having a realistic mindset. You're not going to buy your dream home probably on your first purchase, right? So it's going back to our early question. It's getting in the market some way or another, and if that means, well, shoot, I'm not in that most ideal location for my lifestyle yet, then you make that sacrifice. Or if it's hey, I don't really want to have roommates, but I'm going to have roommates so that I can support the cost of this mortgage. And getting creative and being willing to do the things that not everybody's willing to do is generally how you're going to, break the mold and find those opportunities. I would say the other things is also referencing back to other topics that we've discussed already, but talking to a lender up front, talking to a real estate agent up front. And some people they wait to do that until the moment they're ready to buy or weeks before. But those can be year-long relationships before you ever actually go look at a home or go buy. And getting that counsel and getting that guidance and knowing like, oh, I should pay off this debt over here. Oh, I should really, try to get my credit score up, or something, ways to improve your situation so that you can make your income go further.
Yeah. Well, and oftentimes we've seen through working with buyers, whether they're first-time home buyers or not, but we've worked with some really high-earning buyers that, unfortunately, due to the nature of their work, how they're paid, whether they're W-2 or not, like there's a lot of factors that go into your ability to qualify. Like I think a lot of buyers who haven't met with a real estate broker or with a lender come in thinking, well, I make $150,000 a year. I'm like, don't have, a lot of debt. I should be good to go. Like, let's just go search. And oftentimes there's other things that are playing into their ability to qualify. So I think you just have to get out there and do the homework up front.
Yeah. And also being aware of different programs out there. Like, you don't always have to throw 20% down, right? You can get in at as little as 3.5% down, depending on your situation. So we see that oftentimes, and that's a great way, again, to just get in the market. And so look at those opportunities as they come about.
In Central Oregon, we've seen a huge migration to some of our surrounding markets: Redmond, Lapine, Terrebonne,
Prineville.
Prineville.
Yeah.
I think thinking long and hard, it can be a tough pill to swallow if you've been living and renting in Bend, for 5 years, and you've decided, look, this is my long-term home. I want to make sure to get my foot in the door in this market I want to purchase. It might be your only option financially might be to move to a surrounding community that happens to only be 15 to 20 miles away. It might add some time to your commute. It might shift the way that your lifestyle looks, and we recognize that that's a challenge. It's a barrier to getting into the market, but if you can reshift some components of your life or reset some of your expectations to purchase in another market, that can be a powerful tool and have a lot of impact downriver. And that's where just getting into the market at some point will set you up 5-10 years down the road to be able to be where you want to be. If you're renting for 5 years in Bend, you can't shift your life outside of Bend, and you wait another 5 years and hope that in 10 years you're going to be in a spot to buy. You might get to that spot where you can buy, but you're probably not buying the same house that you might be able to if you had bought the house in Prineville.
Right.
Once again, welcome to 2025. We're super excited about this year. I hope everyone just is hyped for what the future holds this next year. I'm just staying optimistic, and we're just going to keep controlling what we can control over here at Varsity and in our personal and family lives and do our thing.
Yeah, encourage you to go out there and live your best life, have a blast. There's a lot of fun stuff to do and challenges to be had and ways to grow. And we're excited to be a part of it, a small part of it, as we help you navigate real estate in 2025. Should we do it?
Let's do it.
Oh!